Zimbabwean authorities are on the lookout for several organisers of last week's Stay Away protest. For an update on the situation in Zimbabwe, we're joined via our Skype line by Gideon Chitanga. He's a researcher from the Center for the Study of Democracy. Good morning to you, Gideon. Firstly, we're seeing that more and more of the citizens who are said to have been behind the Stay Away last week are coming under attack. How vulnerable are they to the government at this stage?
I think let's contextualize the government response to the stay away, and first agreeing that it was a shocking stay away in terms of its success. Second, the government has come up with a set of interventions, but more prominently political interventions. And in the context of political interventions, the prime strategy has been to arrest and harass those people who have been labeled to have been the leaders of the stay away. And this constitutes mainly prominent social media activists who have been in the forefront of rallying activists to lead or persuade people to boycott or to stop going to work. And amongst these are Promise Mkwananzi, who is leading a group which identifies itself as Tajamuka or Sijikile. There's also Stanford Zorwadza, who led a protest against Vice President Mpopo, who has been staying in a hotel for a very long time, I think more than a year. There's also Evans Mawarire, who has been leading #Zimbabwe or this flag campaign. Now, these are key players who are organizing and driving a social media campaign. And these people have also had teams around them who have been directly targeted by the state. I must say, being arrested in Zimbabwe is not easy, as I indicated sometime last week. If you're arrested, one thing for sure is your rights will be totally constrained, and the state will make sure that you are punished, so that yourself, the targeted individual, the victim who has been arrested, your family, those around you, are profiled in such a manner that in the eyes of the public, you become a symbol that resistance is something that is not allowed or permitted in Zimbabwe, and it would be severely punished. So these are people who are really, really vulnerable at this present moment, and Zimbabweans and those who share solidarity with Zimbabweans must be really concerned with the arrest of these activists.
And Gideon, how can protection around them actually be increased? Because we see now, you spoke about Evan Mawarire, who's been leading the #This Flag campaign, and he's written an article and calling for international help in terms of the situation there. What kind of intervention internationally would actually alleviate the problem, or at least help what is happening there?
I am very sure that there isn't much that can be done in the short term except to continue to call the government to respect the human rights of individuals, to respect the human dignity of those who are deemed or alleged to have violated the law, and ensuring that at the shortest time these people are brought to the to the court of law and be tried for their cases. But we must all understand that Zimbabwe is facing a serious political problem, and this problem has been long-term. SADC has intervened, local civic formations and political parties have been involved. I think what we need is to continue to, while we're calling for the respect for human rights, to look for a long-term strategy that can facilitate the normalization of relations within Zimbabwe, and also the normalization of relations between Zimbabwe and other countries. And now, it looks to me like this is going to be a problem between Zimbabwe and other SADC countries who are concerned with the trade implications of Statutory 64, which has banned imports into Zimbabwe, and relations between Zimbabwe in terms of upholding its international conventions, in terms of human rights, rule of law. And I think the international community and regional bodies must insist on Zimbabwe fulfilling its continental regional obligations and treating its citizens with dignity.
Gideon, just briefly, how do you think that this will affect the second phase of the stay away? We understand that many of the campaigners had been calling for a stay away again this week, this time lasting 2 days.
I foresee that the anger in Zimbabwe will not dissipate. So the anger on its own is an important basis for the momentum of the stay away. But if you consider the response of the government, it has gone on to dividing the Zimbabwean citizens. First, on partisan line, it has launched a campaign through its through ZANU-PF structures to persuade ZANU-PF supporters not to participate in the stay away. So we'll obviously start to see those people who are aligned to ZANU-PF defining themselves and starting to toe the party position. Secondly, trade unions, members of trade unions have been paid. So we are going to see divisions within the trade unions themselves, the teachers associations, nurses associations, doctors associations. But we are also going to see intra trade union divisions between those who are going to toe a hard line and say we have faced a long-term problem and now it's time to seek a permanent solution, and those who are going to accept the incremental measures and say, okay, government is paid, for now we go to work and we wait to see what happens. And because of that, the momentum of the stay-aways will be slowed down but not permanently done with. So in short, government interventions is not permanently resolved the problem, which requires fundamental socio-economic and primarily political reform. And the center of these political reforms should be the retirement of President Mugabe from office and the reconstitution of the Zimbabwean society based on political reforms and economic reforms.
Gideon Chitanga, he's a researcher from the Center for the Study of Democracy.